Okay, we go straight to business. The first story. You know, these are critical and some would say desperate times in our country, and offhand decisions become almost commonplace. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the payment of a disagreeable $418 million in Paris Club refund-related debts to 6 creditors. Now, Nigerian governors and a National Assembly caucus are avowed to these payments. They insist instead of an auditing of the claims. The debts, we are made to know, had accrued from court judgments awarding the creditors said to be consultants and contractors. But the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, says the contracts were largely unexecuted. Sometimes you wonder if it is easier to be critical or to be correct in this country, Jude.
There's always one controversy for us to chew on.
That's what makes the job interesting.
Yes, and in this case, we just hope that sanity prevails and that our country doesn't get fleeced needlessly. $418 million is a lot of money to pay to a few individuals for jobs that they're already being challenged about, jobs that the governors are saying they didn't really do in the first place. So I think the best thing to do is to allow the court cases to run their course. There is no reason in the world why we should be hasty in paying this judgment debt when the cases have not been exhausted in court. They are supposed to be back in court on September 29, and then the Minister of Finance is said to have issued promissory notes in respect of this payment. I don't think it makes sense at all, especially when you already have been notified that you have your day in court this month. And then you are moving ahead to take steps to pay such a humongous sum of money. If these governors are saying, because let's face it, the federal government, everyone benefited from the Paris Club refund.
Yeah.
Now, the governors are saying that what has been set aside in form of judgment debts for contractors and consultants, they do not deserve. And that there ought to be a forensic audit that looks at all of those claims so that we can then be sure whether or not they deserve to be paid at all or to be paid as much as we are now about to pay them. So I think it makes sense, especially given the fact that the matter is in court and 29th of September they are supposed to appear in court over the same matter. So there should not be any form of indecent haste to pay. I know that the federal government has a lot of judgment debts on its neck. Look at OD, for example. The mindless invasion of OD and the killing of innocent people was a matter that got to court. The federal government lost, and I'm aware that judgment debt had not been paid. Even Baba Suwe was unduly accused of harboring drugs in his belly, whereas it wasn't true. By the time he took NDLA to court, NDLA could not pay. They ruined his career, they ruined his humanity, they ruined his life. Baba Suwe has not recovered since then. Yet that judgment debt, NDLA came out to say they've not got that kind of money. They don't even get funded to that extent every year through the budget. So this one, there is a need for the finance minister, for the president to take their time. Let all these cases be decided. Let us see whether indeed these fellows deserve this money before we before we go ahead to pay them.
Okay, quickly, Sam, before you come in with your submission, we have Ernest Ozogbe of the FRCN fame. Well, he was my colleague at the FRCN. He has borne this story. Ernest, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening.
How do you do?
How do you do too? But I'm very fine anyway.
Okay, then let's tear the bag. So, what can you tell us?
You mean in respect of this?
Obvious.
The Governors Forum payment.
Oh yeah.
Well, for me, this actually fits into the orgy and stable of what has been going on in our country over the years, where people make monies for jobs not done and things not done. I understand Jide talking about judgment debts and all of that, but for me, I've been asking questions about our country over the years. Suffusion of billionaires in these days, because millions are nothing anymore. And you ask, when you go to more developed countries that we try to imitate all the time, before you can grow a business to make 1 million naira, $1 million, for which you want to live a good life, you must have impacted your environment, your community. People see people working for you, earning their salaries, getting monies, and then you grow your money, and then they see the impact in the society. In Nigeria, we have people with monies, and we don't know how to make these monies.
Yeah.
And what we come to understand now is these things come out from siphoning from public funds. People get their friends to give them contracts within systems and all of that, and they just get paid. They come out, they buy private jets, they own houses in Paris, in Johannesburg, and all parts of the world, and we don't know how they made the money because we are the poverty capital of the world.
Yeah.
And we don't see the impact of all the millionaires we have, or billionaires rather, in our country. So it's really paining. It pains me to see that.
Yeah.
And this works in another way, that it prevents hard-working people from being recognized. Because you see lazy persons suddenly come up with monies anywhere, and hard-working people like you and I, we are here struggling for how much on a monthly basis, and our work is not appreciated, and lazy persons, because they know people in positions and all of that, get contracts for which they just get paid monies out of the air, and they grow billionaires out of the trees, and you begin to wonder where Nigeria is going. People are billionaires in our country, thousands of them, and yet we are the poverty capital of the world. How can that be? These billionaires must impact the system if they are truly making good money. So as far as I'm concerned, these are public monies that should not be paid to anyone until you can clear up the issues. Like Jide mentioned there, forensic audit. We must audit. There must be an audit to confirm that jobs were done for which these monies should be paid. It's not just you just see a bill and you have to pay monies. Monies cannot be paid until jobs that have been delivered are ascertained. All right. That is where I stand. And that is how I understand it.
Ernest, at this point, I think it's only proper to bring in Sam. Sam, you have a way of, you've seen the matter, you know.
Absolutely.
So what can we possibly say? Sometimes I wonder if Ernest, your humble self, Jide, and my humble self can take these monies for jobs not done. I don't know. I may be wrong.
I can't agree any less with Jide and Eni. We're all very familiar with the Yahoo scourge. The hush puppy story is also familiar. The fact of the matter is that you have many hush puppies working within the corridors of power, not just at the federal level, but also at the state and local government levels. It's just that these privileged few are not branded Yahoo boys. You could brand them Yahoo men. But the truth of the matter is that the incident speaks, to the rot, within the system. And that is why, when Akpabio, submitted the forensic audit report of NEDC, he told the whole world that over 13,000 contracts were not executed. It just gives you a
It's the
picture.
Nigerian way.
It just gives you a picture of what is wrong. So the matter of the matter that we are reviewing is just a very small,
a minuscule,
of the entire thing.
Yeah.
But I think it will interest our audience to note a few things. Two important names mentioned in this saga is one Ned Nwoko rather.
Ned.
Yeah, you all know
a
him.
former member of the House of Reps.
Very popular too. And then Ted Edwards, both of whom run legal firms. For Ned Nwoko, his own claim is about $142 million, while for Ted Edwards is $159 million. Now you can imagine if these claims sail through, how much will arrive in their pockets just for carrying out legal advice, as it were.
Oh, okay. And so the number one citizen, the president, has signed these payments, has approved these payments. Where do we go from here?
I'm sorry, I don't want...
No, I said the president...
I don't want to...
No, the president has reportedly approved the payments. So you are wondering, where do we go from here? Even as the governors at the House of Reps caucus is not happy.
Well, the president cannot have the last say when we have the courts of law in our country. They say the courts are the last hope of the common man. And so if we have a good case here, we don't know how the president came about signing that. I don't want to criticize the president too much, but I'm sorry, but we have a president right now who is on seat, and we have a country like this where so many things are going wrong. People are hungry, our youths are agitated, they have no jobs, and we witnessed the kind of wedding or marriage his son did recently. I thought the president would have shown some frugality to set a standard for the rest of us. So if I see that, and I see our president signing this kind of document, then I ask questions. So we need to litigate. The president cannot have the last say on this, because this will be very detrimental to the development of our people. We have not been fighting. Nigerians don't understand that for Nigeria to be the country we desire, the ordinary Nigerian people must get involved in the fight to rectify Nigeria. We sit docile and think that the people who are oppressing us will make the change. They cannot. We must stand up to let them know that this kind of payment cannot be made. We need to litigate. Even if the president has signed, we still have the courts to clear and say, yes, the president can sign, these guys should get paid. But we have our evidence to produce that no real jobs were done. Youths are hungry. There is joblessness in our country. We are the poverty capital of the world. And people who just want to collect millions of dollars for what job?
Okay.
Look, this is a moral question even. So we need to take it to that level. We can't just say the president has signed. This is what we do all the time in the country. The president is somebody we put on a job. He should not tell us what to do. We should tell him what to do for us. He's our servant. So we should not accept that whatever the president does is correct. And Nigerians need to begin to learn this, that we have a power to stop the president when he does something wrong or when he's about to do something wrong.
Ernest, you are just one half as agitated as we are here. But Jide, the president will not go ahead to sign this thing alone. He's advised by people.
Yes, he's advised.
Lawyers and what have you.
He's advised by the people he appointed to work for him. We have evidence that they are not always right. There have been mistakes made in the past that even the president had to rectify. So if the president, I'm convinced that the president gets sufficient evidence that he was misled to sign this money. If the president will listen to the House of Reps and allow the investigation that the House of Reps are about to do to run its course and the facts are presented, if the president would allow the courts to finish adjudicating on this matter, and he sees that clearly there are some facts that were not presented before him before he was convinced to take this decision, the president is a decent human being, is a rational human being, and he loves his country, no matter what anyone may say. I'm convinced that the president will take the right decision in the best interest of the Nigerian people. So what we are asking for, we don't know who is right for now. We don't know whether Ned Nwoko deserves all of that money or more. We don't know whether another lawyer deserves
whatever,
even much more than he has asked for. But what we are saying is, subject this to a forensic audit so that the people do not walk away with what they do not deserve. Let the courts, because the NGF approached the court through their lawyer Femi Falana, and the case has not terminated. So let the judicial process run its course, and then after that you can take that big decision. Once the judicial process runs its course and everyone can see that, look, this is the decision of the court, they would abide. But to not let the judicial process run its course, to simply dismiss the efforts of the House of Reps to investigate this matter, I don't think that will serve the cause of the ordinary Nigerian. Do you know how many boreholes we could sink with that kind of money, or even a fraction of it? Now, our people, close to 1,000 Nigerians have died of cholera because our people continue to drink contaminated water and all that in our
avoidably.
Yes, these are not diseases that should kill people. In this modern age. So if we get even a fraction of that money, there is a big difference that it could make. That's $480 million, not even naira.
Ernest, as we take this home, as we take this home, the coming days are very interesting. Or don't you think?
But the coming days will be interesting. I am very happy. It's like Jide is a bit more diplomatic than I am, using all those nice language.
Ernest, you know, on this job, you speak daggers but use none.
You train me. You are a veteran. You train me to speak in this manner.
So possibly, the president may have been ill-advised, and I believe that when he gets the facts, he's going to step back a little, and then we allow the judicial processes, if they're already in process, and the new ones that may be instituted, to go ahead. And a country of laws, we follow the laws and follow what the court says. So it is going to be interesting times going forward, if you ask me. But I sincerely hope and believe that at the end of the day, the Nigerian people will win, because we need to put a stop to this situation where people are making money out of our country and our country is suffering. We are all groaning. Those monies should be used for the things for which they are designed, to lift the Nigerian persons out of poverty, create jobs for youths, and make Nigerians happy in general, not just a few persons running away with millions of dollars and flying jets and being happy, while majority of Nigerians are suffering.
You know, Ernest, I rather like the way you coined it, but you say the country is suffering. People take monies they're not entitled to. That's bleeding the country. Ernest Osobwe, thank you for your time. Enjoy Abuja and send some hot weather here. Sam, please take it over.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay then.
Have a wonderful time in Lagos.
Many thanks. Yeah.
All right. I think that the most rational thing to do is to allow the court processes, to run their course. That's the most sensible thing to do. We have always, at this forum, said that it's important that we do all that we can to strengthen our institutions. And one way to do that would be to allow judiciary, exercise the powers vested, by the Constitution. So we expect that the president, being rational, would allow the court cases that have been instituted run their course.
Okay. Well, the debate will continue, and it is raising the question, is it much easier to be critical than to be politically correct here? So let's continue the debate as we take a first break here. We'll be back. Please don't go away.